Pablo Picasso, the post-impressionist painter from Spain who lived between 1881 to 1973, was arguably one of the most talented and influential artists in history. During his lifetime, he created approximately 50,000 artworks, which include paintings, sculptures, drawings, prints, and ceramics. And these works are now worth billions of dollars. But if you've come to this video looking for tips on how to make millions by investing in Picassos, then you're going to be disappointed because that's not what we're talking about today. Instead, today we'll be looking at the life story of Pablo Picasso, a man who has become synonymous with the word genius. We'll be covering his early life, rise to fame, personal relationships, and some of his most famous works before looking at how he died. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this, the incredible life story of Pablo Picasso. When Pablo Picasso was born on October 25, 1881, he was given the name Pablo Diego José Francisco de Paula Juan Nepomuceno María de los Remedios, Cipriano de la Santísima Trinidad Ruiz y Picasso. But his parents soon shortened this to Pablo Picasso. Picasso was born in Malaga, Spain, but his family moved to Barcelona when he was 4 years old. It was here that Picasso began his artistic education. He attended an art school run by his father, an amateur artist himself, who hoped that his son would follow in his footsteps. However, it wasn't long before young Pablo became more skilled than his father, and he was soon making more money selling his artwork than his dad. At 14, Picasso left school altogether to pursue painting full-time, though his parents were not happy about this choice. When he was 19, he exhibited his artwork for the first time, showing 5 of his paintings and 1 sculpture in a small gallery in Barcelona. The following year, Picasso moved to Paris, where he spent most of his adult life. There, he developed his artistic talent further, experimenting with different styles and techniques. By 1901, he was already considered a rising star in the art world, though none of the people buying his paintings knew that they would become priceless one day. Tragedy struck in 1901 when Picasso's best friend, Carlos Casagemas, committed suicide after being rejected by a woman. Distraught by his friend's death, Picasso painted a series of blue-hued pictures depicting poverty-stricken beggars, prostitutes, and the elderly. These so-called blue period paintings were a critical success, though not a financial one. In fact, Picasso was so poor during this time that he often went hungry, subsisting on just bread and water. But despite his dire financial situation, Picasso continued to paint, producing some of his most iconic works, including The La Soupe, The Old Guitarist, and The Blind Man. In 1904, Picasso met a fellow artist named Fernand Olivier. They had a brief romantic relationship before parting ways 2 years later, but she remained a close friend and confidant throughout his life. Around this time, Picasso began experimenting with a new style of painting known as Cubism, which broke away from traditional perspective and showed multiple viewpoints of an object in a single painting. This was a radical departure from the art world's current trends, and many critics panned Picasso's early Cubist works, such as Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, as being formless and chaotic. But others saw the brilliance in Picasso's work and began to collect his paintings, including the wealthy art collector and patron Gertrude Stein. Through her, Picasso gained access to an elite social circle that included writers, poets, and other artists. And it was in this environment that Picasso continued to develop his Cubist style. During World War I, Picasso's work took on a more somber tone as he witnessed the horrors of war firsthand. He produced a series of anti-war paintings including Guernica, which depicted the bombing of a Spanish town by German aircraft during the Spanish Civil War. Though Picasso had never been involved in politics before, the brutality of war moved him to become a pacifist. After the war, Picasso returned to painting in his own unique style, creating colorful still lifes, portraits, and landscapes. Despite his growing success, Picasso remained humble and continued to experiment with new techniques until his death in 1973. Picasso's personal life was as colorful as his paintings. He had a total of 4 children, 2 of whom were legitimate sons and 2 of whom were illegitimate daughters. His first son, Paul, was born in 1900 and named after his close friend who had died the previous year. Picasso was very proud of Paul and often took him along on trips to art galleries and museums. But their relationship turned sour when Paul enlisted in the Spanish army during the Spanish Civil War. Picasso disapproved of war and felt that Paul's decision to fight was hypocritical. As a result, they stopped speaking for several years until Paul was captured by the enemy and imprisoned in a concentration camp. Once Picasso learned of his son's fate, he immediately began working on a painting of Paul in prison. And when the war ended and Paul was released, the 2 men reconciled. Picasso's second son, Claude, was born in 1905 and adopted by Picasso's friend Roger, after Picasso and his wife Olga decided to focus on their careers rather than raising a child. Like his half-brother, Claude also became an artist. However, unlike Paul, Claude never met his father. In fact, Claude didn't even know that Picasso was his biological father until he was in his 20s. As well as his 2 sons, Picasso also had 2 illegitimate daughters. His first daughter, Maya, was born in 1935 to a woman named Marie-Thérèse Walter. Picasso kept secret the affair and his daughter's existence from his wife, Olga, until 1938, when he had a serious car accident and feared that he might die. At that point, he revealed the truth about Maya to Olga, who was devastated but ultimately forgave him. After the revelation, Picasso began spending more time with his daughter and even bought her a house near his own so that they could be close. Picasso's second daughter, Paloma, was born in 1942 to another woman named Jacqueline Roque. This time, Picasso was more discreet about his affair and ensured that his wife did not find out about his daughter or his mistress. Paloma grew up knowing both parents and has become an artist in her own right. Sadly, Picasso's wife, Olga, died in 1955, which left him free to pursue a relationship with Jacqueline Roque. They married in 1961. Later that same year, Picasso suffered a stroke which left him partially paralyzed. Despite this setback, he continued to create art until his death on April 8, 1973. He died of a heart attack at his home in Mougins, France. He was 91 years old. Though Picasso is most famous for his paintings, he was also a prolific sculptor, printmaker, and ceramicist. Some of his most famous sculptures include Head of a Woman, The 3 Musicians, and The Shepherdess. Many of Picasso's sculptures were actually created in the same year as his famous painting Guernica, indicating his versatility as an artist. Additionally, Picasso produced over 100 etchings and lithographs during his lifetime, many of which were inspired by his paintings. In his later years, Picasso turned to ceramics as a new medium, creating a variety of vases, plates, and other objects. Now that you know all about Picasso's biography, let's take a look at some of his most famous paintings. One of Picasso's most famous paintings is Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, which was completed in 1907. This painting was a pivotal moment in art history as it marked the beginning of Picasso's move towards Cubism. Picasso uses bold brushstrokes and geometric shapes to break down the traditional Western perspective and show multiple viewpoints of the women simultaneously. Les Demoiselles d'Avignon shocked viewers upon its initial release due to its radical departure from traditional art. However, it is now considered one of Picasso's greatest masterpieces and a key example of early Cubist work. Another one of Picasso's most famous paintings is Guernica, which he completed in 1937. This large-scale black-and-white painting depicts the bombing of Guernica, a small town in Spain, during the Spanish Civil War. The painting shows scenes of war and destruction, including a bull, an owl, a horse, and a woman holding a broken sword. The stark black and white tones and the powerful imagery of Guernica evoke a strong emotional response from viewers and highlight the horrors of war. This painting is widely regarded as one of Picasso's greatest works and is considered to be an anti-war masterpiece. One of Picasso's most recognizable paintings is the La Soupe, which he completed in 1903. This painting is part of Picasso's Blue Period, which was characterized by his use of blue and blue-green colors to depict poverty-stricken subjects. The La Soupe shows an emaciated man sitting on the floor eating a bowl of soup. The man's hunched posture and the rough brushwork of the painting convey the subject's poverty and despair. The blue color scheme adds to the painting's melancholic atmosphere, which is further enhanced by the dim lighting. The La Soupe is a powerful example of Picasso's early work and a moving portrayal of poverty and hunger. The next painting we'll take a look at is The Old Guitarist, which Picasso completed in 1903. Again, like the La Soupe, this painting also belongs to Picasso's Blue Period. The Old Guitarist depicts an elderly man sitting on a chair playing a guitar. The man's wrinkled face and tattered clothes suggest poverty and hardship, while the guitar symbolizes his ability to bring beauty into the world through music. The blue tones and somber subject matter of The Old Guitarist are typical of Picasso's Blue Period, which was influenced by his experience of poverty and depression. The painting is considered a masterpiece of modern art and a powerful commentary on the plight of the poor. We will finish by taking a look at one of Picasso's most famous still lifes, namely Still Life with a Chair Caning. This painting was completed in 1912 and is one of Picasso's early examples of collage. The painting shows a still life scene with fruit, a bottle, and a newspaper on a table. However, Picasso has disrupted the traditional still life genre by incorporating elements of everyday life, such as the newspaper and the chair caning. This painting is considered to be an important example of collage in art history and demonstrates Picasso's willingness to experiment with new materials and techniques. The bold brushwork and fragmented forms in Still Life with a Chair Caning prefigure the development of Cubism and highlight Picasso's innovative approach to painting, and that's it. Those are some of Picasso's most famous paintings and the incredible story of the man behind them. Which of Picasso's paintings is your favorite? Why don't you tell us in the comments below? Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos about great artists. See you next time.